barbed wire. Y'all ever heard of power bottom?
And yes, I know the audio isn't that great, but I swear it gets better. Just keep watching, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow my Patreon, like, share, subscribe. Bye.
Hey, so I've been revisiting the old media that I used to really enjoy this quarantine, because while it's really fun to find and indulge in the pleasure and excitement and excrement of new music, artists, and sounds, it can get a little bit exhausting, overwhelming. But while I was perusing through my old library, I came across this one band that has been a pang in my heart for years now.
Power bottom.
This video is going to be a revisitation of the duo and the effect that they had on me, the queer community, and the world, or the effect that they almost had. The story of them is definitely a tragedy. Not because they didn't deserve what happened to them, but because they were so close to being what we needed. I'm also going to use this as an opportunity to explore the internalization of media, how it shapes us as people, like our thoughts and perceptions, and what the story of power bottom means for the future of queer artists breaking into the mainstream, and what that meant to me and my group of friends. I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate who were fans of power bottom, a lot of the things I'm going to say this video. So buckle up, Buttercup, for the first video in my new ongoing series, Channeled Cancelled. In this video, how power bottom broke my heart. Part 1. A brief history of power bottom and their story. I first discovered power bottom in 2015 when I heard the song I Want a Boy.
I want a boy to keep the bed warm while I shower.
I want a boy to keep the bed warm while I shower. From one of my good dear friends. And I have been obsessed with them ever since. I'll just bullet point their Wikipedia article. Power bottom are an American queer punk duo formed in 2013 at Bard College by Liv Bruce and Ben Hopkins. The duo's debut album, Ugly Cherries, was released on September 18th, 2015. That was one day before my 17th birthday. They were inspired by other queercore bands like Limp Wrist, as well as musicians like Neutral Milk Hotel, Nirvana, Pink, and Christina Aguilera. Their second studio album, Pageant, was released to critical acclaim in 2017. Okay, just to let y'all know, this was going to be our fucking album of the summer. Like, it was the summer after we graduated. We had all moved out or were moving. College was starting that fall. This was going to be the one gorge. But the album's release was preceded by sexual abuse allegations against Ben Hopkins, which led to the duo being dropped by their record label. Power bottom denied the allegations and have remained inactive since they were made. It remains unclear if the band has definitively ended or is taking a hiatus. So what was really so encapsulating about power bottom was that they were a punk band, a queercore punk band, making really fucking good, emotionally connective music for young queer people. And they were breaking into the mainstream. They made a lot of the emotions we felt feel real, and they gave us language for our experiences, right? From the silliness of how us gays are excited to party, and even before we go out with our friends to bullshit, our getting ready or preparation rituals are still a party.
We can do our makeup in the parking lot. We can get so famous that we both get shot. But right now, I'm in the shower.
They reflected their audience in morals, language, etc. They preached the importance of taking pride not just in being LGBT, but in being fucking queer, baby. And owning it. Loving every part of it, every part of yourself, every part of your friends. To find joy in resisting, even if it hurts sometimes. Or all the time. There's still something to love about the pain of being an individual who's queer, right? They preach the importance of consent and about taking up space.
Listen, it is incredibly important that we take public spaces where we gather together of people with assumedly like-minded ideals very seriously. We're living in a time where people try to spread in misinformation and try to alienate us from each other, but look around, you have so many friends you haven't even met yet. I just want to remind, and this is something that people know, that if you're feeling scared and if you're feeling alone and you're feeling like you can't find a friend, music and art and fucking food and all these things that people make is a great way to find an ally.
It was more than that, though. They symbolized something. The image and idea of power bottom was itself important for young, developing queer people. They were sort of like role models for us younger gays, honestly. And that's why what happened hurt so much. We thought that queer punk rock stars were different from regular rock stars, and we were burned because of that. We thought punk was different from rock. I'm going to be using a series of articles, Reddit posts, and miscellaneous media to cite these things, and I'll put up those references in the corner of the screen. So let's get into it. First of all, Billboard's article on the situation was posted about a week afterwards. I'm just going to kind of read this word for word real quick. I think it sums it up pretty well. A week ago, queercore duo Power Bottom appeared on the verge of a major breakthrough, with rave reviews of their second album, Pageant, predicting that the glitter-splashed pairing of Ben Hopkins and Liv Bruce would be the next big thing in rock. After making a name for themselves with a ragged, urgent garage rock sound that created a safe space for LGBTQ and straight ally fans, Consequence of Sound wrote on May 9th that Pageant raised the bar for what it looks like to be original and significant in the contemporary world of the genre, providing anthem after anthem for bright, curious, vibrant young people with hearts. So queer and alive, and so sad from the start, as the shimmering, resonant album opener, Silly, declares.
Was I silly to love you with the force of my heart when that's queer and alive and so sad from the start?
This from a band that drew widespread praise in November for standing up to anti-gay protesters in Mississippi and making sure their fans had a safe way to enter the club they were playing that night. Then, with the swiftness of an internet meme, disturbing accusations of sexual abuse and predatory behavior against Hopkins bubbled up just days before Pageant's release, unleashing a lightning-fast cascade of repercussions that seemingly dropped the duo from potential next big thing status to punk persona non grata. Dude, this person is taking so much pleasure in writing this article. In a blink, Bruce and Hopkins lost band members, opening acts, their label deal, management, most, if not all, of their booked tour dates, and quite possibly their reputation as a group that speaks up for the disenfranchised and marginalized. At press time, the group had not commented beyond their initial statements that they were taking the allegations seriously and setting up an email address for survivors to discuss the claims. Here's the timeline of Power Bottom's rapid descent. On May 3rd, the Pageant's hype machine begins to spin up with a feature on Noisy that declares Power Bottom is America's next great rock band. After a shopping trip to buy cosmetics with the writer, Bruce explains the importance of the band's glammy persona. We live in an immensely visual culture. For that reason, I think the visual component of this band is part of what gets people to click on it so fast. I know a lot of people have said, I clicked on your Tiny Desk concert because I thought, oh my god, what the F-U-C-K is that? I have to see it. By the way, editor's note, the members of Power Bomb's prefer pronouns are they, them. That's how I get laid too, actually, Hopkins added. Well, yeah, me too, bitch. On May 4th, NPR begins streaming Pageants, praising it for avoiding cliché by grounding itself in bodies and the conflicts they create, and then dignifying those bodies and their struggles by connecting them to something greater. Personal growth, yes! but also a powerful reimagining of what it means to exist within or outside contemporary notions of gender and sexuality. On May 11th, comments on Reddit threads and Twitter raised allegations that Hopkins is a known sexual predator, perpetrator of multiple assaults, etc. The threads appear to stem from a post on the private DIY Chicago Facebook page by a user who goes by Kitty Cordero Cullen, who claims to have seen Hopkins make sexual advances towards several people without their consent, and have heard accounts about Hopkins allegedly bullying other queer artists and making advances on minors. Cordero Cullen's post encourages people to boycott the band's shows. Hey y'all, it's me, the girl who posted the OG Powerbomb post. Think the rumors, think again. Dozens of strangers. At Powerbottom, what you doing, sweetie? As the story was breaking, Spin spoke with Cordero Cullen, and she explained that she became an impromptu clearinghouse of sorts for complaints against Hopkins after commenting, "I'll buy your album once you stop harassing queer women," on a Facebook post promoting Pageant. Cordero Collins says that she was then inundated with messages from strangers, some or all of which she then anonymized and publicized on Twitter. In a since-deleted tweet, a user wrote a friendly reminder to stop letting Powerbottom use their status as allies to do whatever the fuck they want. Additionally, an old photo of Hopkins kneeling on a beach next to a swastika drawn in the sand also re-emerges. Hopkins has previously addressed that image, saying in a series of tweets in December that they were made when he was a stupid kid. Okay, didn't the editor just say that they use they them pronouns? Anyway, the band responds a short time later with a Facebook post in which they say the allegations come as a surprise, but promising to set up an email for any survivors who wish to discuss the issue with another survivor. powerbottom.ask@gmail.com. Unfortunately, we live in a culture that trivializes and normalizes violations of consent. There are people who have violated others' consent and do not know, they write. These allegations are shocking to us, and we take them very seriously. Further, the alleged behavior is not representative of who Ben is and the manner in which they try to conduct themselves. Music is everything to us, but we feel strongly that this matter needs to be addressed first. Hi everyone, Ben and Liv here. We want to respond to some very serious allegations that have been made against Ben. ... We'll finish this later. A woman who claims to have been assaulted by Hopkins after a Powerbomb show last year speaks to Jezebel about the singer's alleged actions. "I just felt totally powerless in this situation. First due to physicality because they were so much larger than me in size and also social status," she tells Jezebel. "I was trying to be okay with whatever was going on." On May 12th, as the allegations pick up steam, a cascade of events take place on the day of the album's release. Following news the previous evening that longtime touring member Cameron West has left the group, followed shortly after by another musician, Nicholas Cummins, Powerbottom cancel a planned record release party at Brooklyn's Rough Trade. Opening acts Namdi, T-Rextasy, and Tankard pull out tour dates, as do Izzy and Rat Boys. The band is also dropped by their management firm, Salty Art Management. Bloodfest and Hopscotch Festival announced they've canceled the group's performances. On May 13th, the band is dropped by their label, Polyvinyl Records, which stopped selling and promoting Pageant less than 24 hours after its release. Throughout our 20 years, Polyvinyl has purposefully operated on the core principle that everyone deserves to be treated with fairness and respect. A representative from the label wrote in a statement, "There is absolutely no place in the world for hate, violence, abuse, discrimination, or predatory behavior of any kind." In keeping with this philosophy, we want to let everyone know that we are all ceasing to sell and distribute Powerbomb's music. Full refunds are being offered, and the label also announces it will make donations to RAIN and AVP. On May 14th, the New York Times runs a story entitled "A Punk Band in the Glare," whose print edition features no reference to the allegations. The online version is later amended to include the information about the fallout from the scandal. Along the way, they have accrued a passionate fan base, tattoo their tweets on their bodies, and slavishly recreate their stage makeup. The paper wrote on the fervid reaction from the group's hardcore followers. And Mick Spruce and Mick Hopkins do find themselves on the receiving end of messages and photos from fans to whom they represent a lifeline, who travel hours to see them perform in areas far less gay-friendly than Brooklyn. The responsibility of being counselor and confessor is a high-pressure one, and one that the two hesitate to fully embody. On May 15th, though at press time they had not confirmed the news, reports surfaced that Powerbottom's North American tour has been scrapped. St. Louis venue off-Broadway posts a Facebook note that reads, "This just in, Powerbottom is canceling all upcoming shows until further notice." The band will be making a formal statement early next week. The band's website listed 39 dates through a September 7th gig at the Hopscotch Music Festival at press time, 15 of which listed as sold out. The websites and social media feeds of at least 15 of the dates report that the gigs have either been canceled or removed from the club's calendars. At press time, the group had not commented further on the allegations of their plans for the tour. Alright, let's look at some of these tweets and Facebook posts. So, content warning, preying on minors. I've also been contacted by about a dozen strangers, including minors, talking about how Ben has violated their autonomy and or consent. Content warning, homophobic slur. Ben has also called their ex-drummer, a lesbian, a dumb dyke. Oh shit, they also got their van robbed a while back or something, and they posted a GoFundMe to get money for new gear, and amongst the vintage Russian big muffs or whatever, they included funding for miscellaneous drag clothes. Thank you. I've known this for years, and I hate when my queer friends talk about them. Thank you for speaking out. I'm honestly just doing this so no more people get hurt. I'm not one of his victims, and his actions don't harm me, but they have harmed my friends, and I'm tired of it. I know, it's so important. I knew them in high school, and they abused a lot of my friends, made unwanted sexual advances to almost anyone with breasts. I thought they maybe cleaned up their act and kept my mouth closed, but clearly they haven't. I try to always talk to my friends about this, but I don't have much evidence to talk about whether or not they've moved on. But this post really gives me better ways to articulate. Thank you. This is really upsetting, as I am a Jewish, queer, and also a survivor of sexual assault and a fan of the band. Another heads up, Ben's father has made inappropriate advances on women at both Boston shows I've been to. The time it was me and a friend, and at the show in November he touched my girlfriend inappropriately, it would not leave her alone. Here is the Facebook post from Power Bottom on May 18th, 2017. From Ben. What has transpired over the last several days has been emotionally overwhelming and difficult to comprehend. Last Thursday, I learned that an anonymous individual had made an allegation of sexual assault against me. This allegation was devastating to me, as it is contrary to the intentional way I seek to interact with those around me. As I digested the allegations, I tried to figure out who the individual might be, so that I could try to reconcile what I had read with my memory of any particular sexual interaction. I waited to respond to the Jezebel article because the statements made about me by the anonymous source did not line up with any sexual experience I had ever had. Over the past several days, I was able to figure out who the individual was based on what I was reading and my subsequent conversations with Liv. I'm not going to breach the anonymity of the person interviewed in the Jezebel article, but given the serious nature of what was published and its impact, I have to unpack the claims and provide perspective on the details within. We met the night before a show in March of 2016 and spent most of the following day together. After the show, she invited me back to her house and we eventually engaged in sex. Based on the nature of our communications and our interactions with one another, I understood our interactions to be fully consensual. We stayed in touch over the course of several weeks by exchanging texts and pictures. Later, she asked if she could stay with me at my home, where we had sex several more times over the course of those days. Again, I understood these interactions to be fully consensual, especially since our ongoing communications continued to be mutual, positive, and reciprocal in nature. We did not see each other much after that, but when we did, it was entirely pleasant, and we continued to exchange texts, including as recently as March of this year. I had no indication before last week that she had any concerns for our interaction. Last week, I learned that in February of this year, this person had expressed concerns to others about what had transpired between us. I fully embrace and respect this individual's right to speak out in any manner or form they choose, including in a Facebook post or anonymously to a Jezebel reporter. It does not diminish that person's experience or perception. After the initial shock of learning about her concerns, I've tried to understand her experience of our interactions. It would be antithetical to my values to attack, blame, or shame someone who's using the power of call-out culture to name their experience and hold others accountable, even when, or especially if, the individual they seek to hold accountable is me. I appreciate that someone's views about the dynamics of intimate interactions can change and are not always apparent in the moment. While I am open to understanding this person's perspective, I strongly contest the account put forth in Jezebel. I am firmly committed to consent, to communication, and to mutual expression of sexual interest. The accusations in Jezebel directly conflict with my experience, as it is not my practice to engage in sexual contact without protection, without discussing the issue with my partner, or to engage in the other conduct alleged in the Jezebel article. That being said, in keeping with my commitment to my principles, I believe it is my responsibility to be accountable to this individual's perspective and to honor it accordingly. One more thing. I have seen posts about people raising concerns about having their boundaries crossed when I've greeted our fans after our shows, something Liv and I do after every performance, taking selfies and thanking folks for coming. This is, again, incredibly shocking news to me, as the safety and well-being of Power Bottom fans is the most paramount concern I have as a member of this band on and off stage. If my physical contact has made anyone feel uncomfortable, I sincerely apologize and will work hard to have an increased awareness of boundaries moving forward consistent with our commitment to our fans. from Liv. In February, I made contact with the anonymous individual interviewed by Jezebel, someone I knew casually, after hearing that she had made inflammatory accusations about Ben in a private online forum. My intent in reaching out was to learn more and to make myself available in the event that I could be of any help. Our conversation was friendly, but it ended without a plan for any specific next steps. Based upon our discussion, my understanding was that she did not want me to share her identity with Ben unless I had her explicit permission to do so, and I assured her that I would not do so. After our conversation, I wanted to discuss with Ben the issues she had raised, but I quickly realized that doing so would inevitably reveal her identity. I did not know how to proceed, nor did I know where to seek advice about how to move forward. After Ben ascertained the individual's identity on Friday, I decided that my withholding information was no longer protecting her privacy, and I told Ben about the conversation she and I had. From Power Bottom. As some of you know, we set up a separate email address back in mid-May so that anyone with information relevant to the situation that was then unfolding could privately share what they knew. At the time, we thought it was the right thing to do. We now see that we are putting the onus on others to do something that only works if it is what they want. We've concluded that there is no viable way to do what we were trying to accomplish, with the result that we are going to shut that email address down. We have not and will not look at any emails that may have been sent there to date. Finally, to our fans, our friends, our family, and those who have supported us unfailingly and who continue to support us unfailingly, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Having enjoyed the enthusiastic support of so many incredible people throughout our music careers has been a blessing. We love playing music, we love sharing music with others, and we want nothing more than to be back performing together soon. Let's look at some of the responses to this. So Ben used the word dyke. Why are they just piling everything on at once? Also, where the hell is the proof? A part of the post was how it was shitty they used the phrase miscellaneous drag stuff and the phrase Russian muffs or something. They were drag performers with their shit stolen. They had to replace their drag, y'all. A GoFundMe is something people can choose to donate to. And if there's one thing trans folk know how to do, it's how to make their money. None of these posts are from victims, all just friends of the victims. And to quote ContraPoints, sometimes people can lie. They also are referencing Ben's father for being a perv. While the show referenced is a show that is 3 hours away from where Ben's family lives, and they performed in their hometown 2 weeks prior. So why would Ben's father have been there? Language regarding sexuality is weak. A shitty or unwanted advance isn't assault. Persistent advancement is harassment. Assault isn't having someone flirt with you that you don't want them to. The swastika is Ben being a stupid kid. Wasn't he like 13 or something? Bitch, we were all shitty at 13. People change. Jezebel is using language that frames how Ben and Liv are so much bigger than her, but they're skinny as fuck with like a 16 BMI, and that's also weirdly framing Ben and Liv as in the same camp as these big, large men, and proposing their body type as masculine, and it sort of is relying on transphobia. Can or should we talk about the transphobia and bodyism being present in the conversation about Power Bottom, Liv, and Ben? Maybe it represents some sort of feminine transphobia. If we learned anything from the James Charles incident, people are pretty quick to cancel an AMAB queer person and label them as sexual predator, even if it's unfounded in lies. Liv was canceled too, because she saw some of the acts and defended Ben. But like, that signals to me that she was under the impression that everything was okay. And who wouldn't defend their best friend if they presumed the situation to be okay? And also, isn't it weird that all these allegations came out like the day before their album dropped? Like, this was certainly pointed and tactical, and we all use this strategy when, you know, announcing that someone is a predator. Power Bottom did what? Alright, so honestly, I've been kind of terrified to make this part of the video. Not because I'm afraid of backlash or anything, but no, fuck that. I'm the person who made James Charles and ContraPoint's defense video when they were at the peak of their cancellations, okay? No, what I'm terrified of is coming off as a victim blamer or an R-word apologist or someone who just flat out doesn't care or listen to victims. This doesn't mean shit when it comes to my credibility or person, but I also have a troubling history that I'm not going to get into, but I'll just say it definitely makes me to not want to do those things. Regardless, I think it could be helpful to explore not if Power Bottom did it or deserved it or whatever, but Why? Some of the Reddit posts and articles reference this, but it always troubled me how quickly everything happened, right? As some have said before, other musicians and bands have been accused of equally troubling and predatory behavior, just like Power Bottom, but they're still operating business as usual. There are musicians such as... and the list goes on. But these musicians didn't have their lives uprooted in a week. That week sucked. It was like every other day was just another punch to the gut, and the more news came out, the more we were hurt. I felt violated. I felt taken advantage of and lied to. And I think as queer folk, we often have to police our own communities because no one else is going to do it for us. It's a form of self-care and self-defense, and it's a way that we ensure the safety of not just ourselves, but the people we love. It's always been an amazing quality of the queer community, one that I've always valued and admired, just how quickly we are to be emotionally present and actionative. When this community aligns itself with a community like punk, what happens? We are starving for representation as queer people, for artwork that reflects ourselves and our values. We're starving so we consume it. We internalize it. This artwork becomes a part of ourselves. We dress up like our favorite characters from media. I mean, have you fucking been to an anime conference? We get tattoos of tweets. We tweet and post message boards about them, and we talk about them to our friends. We consume media, and when we consume media, we don't just enjoy it. We can't just enjoy it. It becomes a part of ourselves. So when we find out something is toxic, we do the painful surgery of removing it. And this is often done in a panic because we want it out as soon as possible, which would explain why we're so quick to deplatform public queer figures. And another point that my friend made was how it could have something to do with lost time. Queer folk, we aren't usually taught our culture, right? It's something to be sought out. So this feeling of putting in work and energy and exploration and going outside of what is our understood zone, all that time and energy is just lost. And when we find out that it's built on a bed of lies, you know, it hurts. Power Bottom was a group that preached consent and safe spaces, and then that was violated. And so that's why it hurts so much, right? But again, it can be seen how these decisions are kind of rash, right? Like, in the last year, we've had 2 queer public figures deplatformed from speculation. ContraPoints and James Charles, who I was right about. Jeffree Star was canceled, but that's a whole nother conversation that I'm not getting into right now. And those queer people came back, so what's different about Power Bottom, right? I think that it comes down to time frame and the way that they responded. If we see people apparently need to make hour-long YouTube videos that rip open their personal lives and explore every gritty detail about every situation in order to defend themselves and to come back. And Power Bottom decided to post to Facebook. They tried to continue the conversation and mend the situation. And that obviously backfired. They got so much backlash from that. And then the silence. Why the silence? The silence hurts so much. Why won't they just tell us? They denied it and then left off the face of the planet. Here's my theory. I think that the Power Bottom name and social media are owned by their record labels. So that even after they were dropped, they still weren't allowed to post anything. They tried to make a tweet a year after everything happened and try to just, act like, hey, what's up, guys? But I feel like this was just some PR team trying to test the waters, and also they were met with a lot of backlash. Ben and Liv probably, literally, legally can't talk about it online. And that's probably what hurt them so much, honestly. The silence was presumed to be an admission of guilt. Power Bottom helped young queer people find beauty and pride in their flaws. Innuendo Studios said something once about art being something that comforts the disturbed and disturbs the comfortable, and I think that rings true with Power Bottom. Even now, if they were to come back, I don't think I'd be able to support them. I couldn't. Even though they were my favorite bands, I would need to know the truth, definitively. If I couldn't know that, I'd feel gross, and I'd feel like I'd be going against my morals. Maybe Liv, if she released something solo, but even then, I don't know. Because if she actually did know about everything that was going on, I couldn't support someone who would sit by. But they're not coming back. There are no posts, no mentions, nothing, anywhere. Except here's a few nuggets. So here's Liv's aunt saying that she hoped Liv will make music again someday. Which means that Liv is not making music. Here is something. Apparently, Ben was going to try and release a new track last November, which was met with backlash, and also never happened. Here's a photo of Liv. She's looking lovely. Transition's going well. Titty Skittles working wonderful. Oh, and here's a picture. Ben is alive. That's cool. I'm not really sure where to go from here, but I suppose this is how I'm going to put my process to rest. Consider this my morning piece and final mention of what almost was. Here are some bands I've been using to numb the pain. Black Dresses, obviously, my favorite bands. Girlwood, amazing. Twogpeg, Swaggets, all amazing people. I'll link them down below. Hello, so I've been bashing my skull and trying to figure out what to make. Not because I don't have any ideas, I have plenty of those. I actually think that might be the problem. I have way too many ideas and I just have no idea where to start. I think it's gonna be a process that just takes one step at a time as I sort of figure my shit out. But in the meantime, I've made a second channel for my more bullshittery / vlog style vlog. But in the meantime, I've made a second channel for my more bullshittery / vlog style content. I've already uploaded there, and these videos are going to be more off the cuff and fun, except for the video that was just uploaded. That one's a little more heavy. That is a letter to 25-year-old me. It was inspired by Dodie, so it is going to be a little bit emotional, but I'm hoping to upload content that's a little more fun. I want to go hunt for Bigfoot at my local park, but like take it very seriously. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I'm going to try and upload there every Wednesday, while I still try and upload to this main channel every other Friday. I have a Patreon. Super special thank you to the 3 folk who have already joined it. I now have $16 coming in every month, so that means I'm basically rich. If you'd like to support me, you can go and do that there. I'll get a better camera and microphone and editing software, so it would be a lot better, but it'd be great. Thank you. Something else. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Thank you all so much for watching. Go follow my social medias. I'm really funny on Twitter, and I post really cool pictures on Instagram. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of this video and what content you would like to see in the future. I'm thinking my next video is going to be about goblin core, opulence, and the ironic twist on materialism. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much, and goodbye. See you next time. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much. Stay safe. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much. See you next time, and goodbye.